The car is now packed and I am ready to leave. I am excited. It is about 10:30 in the morning. I told my Airbnb host I would check in around 5:30, so I have basically all day to hit up some thrift stores along the way, stop for lunch. I researched a restaurant. I don't know if I'm going to get there, just because it is about half an hour out of the way, but it's just going to depend on timing. And their Thursday specials, my favorite food of all time, cabbage rolls. So hopefully I can get down there and enjoy a nice lunch spot. Good morning. It is now day 2 of the market. I'm at my Airbnb and I'll check out this morning. So yesterday went okay. I'm hoping that today is more of my demographic. Yesterday I sold one bucket hat to start the day, which was nice. So I was like, oh, it's gonna be a great day. And then, I don't know, I just didn't make a whole lot of sales. I did rearrange my booths at the end of the day. The girl across from me, I was talking to her and then I looked over at my booth and I was like, oh, there was just too many signs. So I had 4 signs on my table, and it was a lot. So I looked over and I was like, oh no. So I asked this young girl, she's selling candles. I had said, what would you change? And she goes, well, definitely take down the signs. I said, yeah, I see that now. And she's like, well, bring your table more forward and then have your clothing rack beside it. Because people feel like if they enter your booth, they're making a commitment. They don't want to step inside your space. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I've heard that now. I mean, it was different when I had my sewing business. People wanted to come in and look at the variety of designs I had. But maybe it's just different now. I don't know. People have fear of commitment. So hopefully today's better. So yesterday I sold bucket hats. I think I sold like 8 scrunchies for $5 each. And then 1 of my sleeve pouches. So I had quite a bit of interest in my swim cover-ups, but nobody took the plunge and bought one. They would say like, oh, I gotta think about it, you know, I'm on a budget, and then they'd walk away. So hopefully today they all sell. That would be nice. I'm hoping today's more of my demographic. Yesterday was a lot of retired people because it was on a Friday, and in the evening there was a lot of young girls who were drunk because it's at a winery. So they didn't do any reckless spending with me, but maybe at other vendors they did. Although I didn't see a lot of them leave with bags. Probably more of an experience thing. And, you know, budgets, economy. So praying that today is a lot better because I need to pay some bills when I get back home. So I'm going to be, I hate being salesy and I'm not good at it. So I'm hoping that I can just be, I don't know, noticed a bit more today once I rearrange my booth. So I'll put a video up once I do rearrange it, a clip here, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because yesterday I had the table on one side of the booth, and then the clothing rack on the other side of the booth. It worked okay, I think, for early morning. But as the day went on, I moved the table closer to the front of the booth. 1, to get noticed by people who were shopping, my vendor neighbors. Because one lady's really salesy and she was pulling people over, but then they kind of skip over my booth. So I talked to her about it at the end of the day and I was like, you can't keep doing that because they keep skipping my booth. She's like, I caught myself a few times. I'm so sorry. She goes, tomorrow I'm going to tell them to check out your stuff. I'm like, please do. That would be great. So we have a good understanding about that now. And, you know, some people would, you know, shop her stuff and then come over and see mine, but not everybody, which is still okay. But I had said to her, I said, if they're 2 booths down from you and you call them over, they completely walk right past me. So hopefully today's a bit better and we can work together on that. So all in all, it was a good day. I wish the sales were more. I think I made, $80 in sales yesterday. So really hoping today I can sell over $1,000. So fingers crossed. I don't want this to be a waste of time or a waste of money. So going into it with a positive attitude. I'm going to sell everything today. It's going to go great. And I'm going to do a minimal booth setup. The young chickie helping me for the candles, she had said people like her age in their early 20s really appreciate minimal space or minimal setup. So things aren't, 1, overwhelming, 2, cluttered. The 3, they're more like aesthetically appealing. And she was like, get rid of the seashells on your table because they're not for sale, are they? I'm like, well, no, but this is like a beach theme. And she was like, no, get rid of it. So she was really honest with me, but like that was fine. So I appreciate that. So we'll see how it goes today. So I actually got the hours messed up yesterday. I thought yesterday was supposed to be 10 till 6, and then today, Saturday, is 12 to 7. So I got there yesterday morning at 8 a.m. Well, I guess stayed overnight in my Airbnb. Got there at 8 a.m. and I was set up by 10, and then people were still like arriving and setting up. I'm like, well, that's unprofessional, right? And so I checked the website and it was like, it was reverse. Yesterday was 12 to 7, and today is 10 to 6. And that's just the way my ADHD brain works. It's in your head, but then it's jumbled. So at least now, today, I know it's 10 to 6. I do look forward to it. I look forward to packing up later. Steve, the husband, is coming to help, and I'm thankful for that. Very, very thankful. I can't do the tent on my own. It's so difficult. And we had to like use ground stakes, like those cork twisty things. and like some concrete nails we used to like nail down the tent, ratchet straps, all of the things. It's very windy here on the lake, so it's definitely needed. There was a lot of blowing late yesterday. It was very windy, but I didn't feel any need to, grab onto the tent, so that is definitely helpful, and it doesn't make me as anxious, so I'm thankful to have him. He is one of the best husbands when it comes to helping me with, this kind of stuff. And he used to help so much with my sewing business too, but did a lot more markets then than I do now. Yeah, going into it with a positive attitude today. I'm gonna sell everything, and I'm gonna make at least $1,000, if not more. I mean, 2,000 would be amazing, so fingers crossed that can happen. On Thursday evening, I was talking to the hosts of my Airbnb, and they were mentioning that they're excited because their grandson's coming for a visit tomorrow, Sunday. So I made a little guy one of these tiny teddies, and I really like this size. I use a 7mm hook, and I really like the size of this one. I don't have a measuring tape with me, but I'm gonna see if I can compare him to something, so I can at least relate it to something at home. There's a roll of paper towels. We're gonna use that. The Airbnb is really nice. I'll show you a little tour. Okay, so here he is in a relation to a roll of paper towel. So when I get home later, I can reference this and figure out the size of this little guy. But I really like this size. It is quite nice. Okay, I'll give you a little tour of the Airbnb before I leave. So common space, kitchenette, mini fridge, which is nice to have. Here's the bedroom where I slept. That's quite nice. It's a pretty big space. It is a basement apartment. Bathroom. I took a nice bath last night. The tub is really deep, which I wish I had at home. Entrance. Here's the bedroom I didn't use because I only need one. So, yeah, it's really nice. So, and the lady that owns this place, she's an interior designer, and you can tell because all the spaces are very deliberate, I guess would be the right word. And yeah, just the finishing touches are really, really nice. I gotta show you the tile in the shower. It's really pretty. Just the way they have this done is so nice. And this was cool. My favorite flower is peony. So I got to use peony body wash. I took a picture of that bottle so I can get more. It was really nice. I did enjoy my stay here. And it was nice to have a pick from 2 different beds. I chose the one that felt most like my bed at home. A coil mattress. Okay, so clearly I am back home now. In a separate clip, I'm going to talk about the market. I'm going to leave that until morning. It's late at night now. It's probably, let's say 9:15, 9:30, looking at the sun. So the sun will set as I'm talking about this, so watch the window if you want. So welcome to another angle of my office that you haven't seen yet. My yarn wall is in front of me here. This is Larry's little dog bed. That's the computer. So on my way down to the venue, as I said, I took the long way down just because I really hate the highway. Like it's the 400 series highway, goes right through the cities and just hard pass. I'm not, I would say I'm a nervous driver, but like when it comes to like the 400 series, when people are driving like 120 and that's in the slow lane, I avoid it at all costs. And I knew I wanted to make a day out of it and just, take my time and go down and hit up some thrift stores along the way for some yarn. So that's what we're going to talk about now. I figured I'd put in this video because it was part of my little journey down to the market. So this was not at thrift stores, but in our Makers Hub, which was part of like the event coordination thing, they had said it was like a 28-page document they created for us. And oh my goodness, I've never been communicated with so well in my entire life. And that includes marriage. I mean, typical, right? But oh my God, they were so communicative. And this 28-page document said, hey, if you forgot something, here's some resources. By the way, Michael's is 2 kilometers away from the winery that you're at. So I was like, okay, well, so this first day that we were there, so today's Saturday night. It feels like Sunday, but it's Saturday because the event was Friday, Saturday. So Friday after the market, I was like, I can go check out the Michaels. And I have had my eye on these forever, and I've been waiting for them to be discontinued or clearance or whatever. So it's Twisted Tones, recycled acrylic. And I really want to use these for my Flower Power Granny Square cardigans. And I got 3 colors in total. This one is called Pop Art. This is one I was most excited about and waiting for. Reminds me of cotton candy, but with green. This one's so pretty too. I couldn't resist. And it's called Chill Out Teal. Chill Out Teal. And then this beautiful one. I love this one. I'd never seen this one before, but the Michaels I went to in St. Catharines, Ontario, it was freaking huge. I'm pretty sure, I got a little video clip, so I'll insert that right here as we're talking about these. And this one's called Brights. Just brights, like bright lights, brights. So I really like that one, so I had to get it. And I think it'll make really nice petals of the Granny Square Flower Power thing. I only got 3 skeins in total, so that was them. I did not get this ball at the thrift store. This is one of Larry's balls. So I hit up a whole bunch of different thrift stores along the way. I honestly don't remember how many now because it's, 2 days later. So I hit up a few. There was one that was really good, and I got a picture of the yarn wall. Here's the picture. It doesn't look like a lot, but there was some goodies. And I was like, yes, please, yes, please, yes, please. Because there's really good yarn. It wasn't just, like somebody's little leftover scrappies. So I got a whole bunch at that location, including, I'm not going to take them out of the bags right now, so I'm sorry about the crinkles. But I will edit out as much of the crinkle as I can. So I got 2 Karen Chunky Cakes, and they look brand new. And this is the color Cherries Jubilee. I know that because I recently-ish, made the Heart Granny Square cardigan that I sold on Valentine's Day. So that was Cherries Jubilee. Then there was another Karen Chunky Cake. Yeah, Karen Chunky Cakes, and this is the color Blue Moon. A little bit strange to me because it's definitely like a teal green teal. I don't see any blue in it, but it matches my walls, and my walls are called Thai Teal. So to me, that's like a teal blue, whatever, but it's called Blue Moon. There was only one, but looks brand new, so I snagged it. I did take all the little price sticker thingies off of it just because they bug me. So I think in total for everything I thrifted along the way was about $50. So I got a lot of yarn. This was at the same store, I think, maybe? No, I don't think it was. So I think this is the only one I had got at the thrift store where I got this one. So whatever. But it looks like a brand new skein of little petunias, brunette baby blanket. It's an older one, obviously, because the ball band's different. Let's see if we can find the year. 2016. So yeah, it is a bit older, but 9 years now. And then at the same thrift store, I got the Karen Chunky Cakes. I got 2 skeins of Bernat Blanket, both in the color, I think this is vintage cream, or vintage white, basically cream. So got those 2. And then also 1 full skein of Sweet Snuggles. It looks like a decent size. I don't know if it's used. It doesn't really look used. And then I also got some Bernat Premium Red Sparkle. If you've watched my channel for a while, you know that I've been saving a whole bunch of Sparkle Christmassy yarns, and someday I want to make a king-size blanket with them. So every time I see them at the thrift store, I scoop it up. And yes, I could buy it online, but it's more fun when I'm thrifting them all. It just, I don't know, it's been a goal of mine to do. So got that. So in total, at that thrift store, the yarns that I just showed you, so I'll just kind of quickly re-show them. Sweet Snuggles, the 2 Christmassy skeins, 2 Bernat Blanket, and 3 Karen Chunky Cakes came to $41. So I think that's pretty good. And then I know the first thrift store I went to, I really wanted to go to it because I used to go to it with my grandma all the time, and it's an amazing thrift store. It was then. It's even better now. They expanded it and I had no idea. I pulled into the parking lot. It was the first stop I made during my road trip. So it's about 45 minutes south of us. And I pulled in the parking lot. I could barely get a parking spot. And I was like, what day is this? You know, it was a Thursday. It was just packed in there, in the parking lot and inside. And so hard to move around in. But like, it's a really big space, but there's just so many people. It's crazy. So I can understand why people love it so much. But they gotta go back. So I did get 1 skein of yarn. It's Bernat Blanket. I don't know what color it is. I've never seen it before. And I paid $3.50, but I gave, I said keep the change. I gave her 2 toonies. So they got 50 cents for their charity. And then this one, I believe, I don't know for sure. It might be, there's a twisted something from Michael's that I've used before. This might be it, or honestly, this might be ice cream brand, Lion brand, ice cream yarn. I don't know what it is, but I've used it before and I liked it for charity toques. So I figured, you know what, I'm gonna pick it up. I think it was like $2.99. And something I don't really like buying these as much, like just jumbled bits of yarn that people throw in, because I found a bug or 2 in like things like these. So now I know, at least I open these outside. So like when they're jumbled like this, and there's a whole bunch of skeins in there. And I couldn't resist, only because I've been using a lot of tweeds yarn lately for some Flower Power granny squares. So tweed, and like this rainbow one was pretty. So I was like, you know what, I'll buy it. I think this was like $4. So not bad for this amount of yarn. So in total, I came home with 22 skeins of yarn. Not bad. You know, it could have been less, it could have been more, but 22 skeins, and it's all stuff I'm going to enjoy working with. There were a few things I was tempted by, but I was like, you know what, nah. I've been trying to limit myself, of course, but it is fun to thrift. I love thrifting, as you all know, so it was just, I thought, you know what, I'm going to thrift while I'm on my way there. And then the 2 cities that I had to go through, there was like 3 thrift stores within like a kilometer/mile of each other, so I was like, perfect. So that was good, and yeah, it was a good time. I got to the Airbnb at a decent time. I think I got there around 5 p.m. like on Thursday. I left the house around 10:30, and then I got to the Airbnb around 5. So made a good time. So you may remember me saying that I like to reach out to my booth neighbors at events like this, if I'm able to, if we know in advance. And this time we did. So I reached out to both of them. One lady selling dog treats and one was selling pillows. And I was looking online at like their websites and stuff, and I thought, this lady makes a living selling pillows, because she does it full time. I got her via her website. I found that out. I was like, that's weird, but okay, whatever. You know, who am I to judge? People love pillows, I guess. And she calls them the OMG pillows. I'll put a link below, because I didn't think I'd come home with one. I actually came home with 2. I didn't think I would even like this. But, you know, people were raving about them and blah, blah, blah. And I knew they had a special feature before, like, I seen them in person. I think I've met this lady before at past events, like, years ago. I thought, okay, all right. And then, you know, she had people test them out in her booth, and people were raving. And people were buying, like, 5 or 6 at a time. And I'm like, okay. I was like, I gotta go test these things out. So I went over to her booth, and I don't know if you can hear it. It's a vibrating pillow. And no, you can't sit on it. I asked. She said she gets that question a lot. But no, it's a therapeutic pillow. So there's a class 2 medical device in here. I asked, I was like, how did you come up with this idea? And she had said she bought one of those stationary foot massagers from like a garage sale. When they're like slippers you put your feet into. I've seen them like online and stuff too. And she was like, I wish I had something more portable, because she said she had like a sore back at that point, or maybe it was during maternity leave. I don't remember what she said now, but she was like, so I took the motor out of it and I put it into a pillow of my own. Like, you know, she chopped open a pillow and put it in. She was like, it's a good idea, because it was portable that way. She could take it on flights. She could, you know, take it in the car, take it upstairs to the bedroom, take it onto the couch, put it under any body part when it's, you know, like this. Right? So I was like listening to her spiel all weekend, and I was like, okay. So I asked her to trade. I traded, and she agreed. She took one of my cardigans, like the summer swim cover-ups, and we exchanged for this nice pillow. And then I was thinking to myself, something I really hate doing is, you know, having this in the living room on the couch and then having to take it upstairs when I want to take it upstairs. So I said to her, I was like, okay, we traded for this one, but I do have money left in my food budget, because I didn't really spend much on food over the 2 days I was there. And I said, I'm going to buy another pillow. She goes, you want a second one? She goes, you didn't even sure if you wanted one. And I was like, well, and I told her, you know, upstairs, downstairs, I hate that. So pretty cool. And then when Steve showed up to help me, I had said to him, I said, okay, before we start, I said, take this, hug it, because it's pressure activated. So once you let go, it turns off. And it's powered by 2 C-cell batteries, so like the big round ones. And you change those every 6 months or so, 120 hours in the motor battery. And I love it so much. So I said to Steve, I was like, take this and hug it so you can see what it does. And I said, for your mom for Christmas. So he took it and he was like, my mom will love that. And I was like, I know, I've been thinking about her all weekend, because, you know, she has her heating pad like on her chair already. And like this nice vibration, it feels so good. Like I had it on my back a little bit on the way home. You can only use it for half an hour-ish at a time. And so, you know, of course, I didn't use it when I was on the major highway, but, you know, on the side roads coming home, I put it on my back and it felt so good. And you can also put your feet on top of it, stuff like that. So that's what felt the best for me, was when I had it under my feet and was like, you know, giving me some blood circulation in my ankles and stuff. So I'm excited to use it. I never thought I would come home with a vibrating pillow, because I was like, that's crazy, you know, I won't like that. But there you go, to show that you should test out items before you judge them. So my amazing pillow, my OMG pillow, she's been doing this full time for 16 years. She goes to the One of a Kind show in Toronto, and she does like all the different convention centers. She has a whole trailer full of these, and it was pretty cool to see exactly what she makes and what she was talking about. And she was describing it to people like Build-A-Bear. Basically, you know, you say, yes, I want one. She grabs like the foam inside, and then you pick your own cover, which was really cool. So I really like this one. And then the other one I got is like an olive green color to match the bedroom. So very exciting. It was nice to do one trade. Everybody else I asked for a trade said no, but that's okay. I always say, don't feel pressured. I said, I just want to offer. I don't know if everybody does do trades or if it's common in that area, but that's okay. I tried to trade for a nice candle. It smelled like cinnamon rolls, but the girl had said, I'm trying not to do trades. And I said, yeah, that's fine, whatever. And then I also wanted to trade for bath bombs, and they had said, we don't really wear crochet stuff. I said, that's fine, that's cool. You know, no pressure, obviously. I just wanted to ask, you know, all you can do is ask. So this, I didn't purchase really anything in the market. There was, you know, a little bit of time at the end where we all kind of walking around shopping each other's booths, but, oh, I guess no, I shouldn't say that. I did buy one thing, but it's something that I buy all the time. And I said to this girl, Lisa is her name, I had said, I'm so sad that I did not know you were coming, because she makes my favorite soap for the shower. So it's whipped soap. I also buy her hand cream. I buy her lip balm. I buy everything that she makes. It's, what's she called? Small Batch Soaps. I'll put her website below. But she had the scents there that I hadn't smelled in person yet. And, you know, you don't want to buy online just in case you don't like it, because I'm not really a big fan of vanilla. But she had the new one there called Pink Lemonade. So, it was so good. I love that smell. My favorite of hers is Fruit Loops and Lemon Lavender. So, yay. So I got one Pink Lemonade from her. I really wanted to get, you know, every single scent that she had, but can't afford it. So, I'm happy with my pillow. Well, 2 pillows. Technically, one of them's still in the car, but it'll stay there because I'm just too exhausted and too sore to unload anything tonight. As I said, it's getting late, and I just got home. Unpacked a few things, you know, the important things I need for tonight, and then we'll unpack the car the rest of the way tomorrow. Let's recap the weekend from my favorite spot in my office. This is my favorite view to give you guys. So basically it's in the corner and I'm surrounded by yarn because who doesn't love that, right? Especially if you're watching this channel, I know you love yarn. So enjoy the view. So not Sunday. I keep thinking it was Sunday, Saturday, but no, it was Friday, Saturday, as I've said many times. So the Saturday was better than the Friday. Friday was not my demographic at all. It was a lot of senior people, people in wheelchairs, like, you know, people in like their 80s or like some in their 90s. Yeah, but like, as I said, it's been going on, like this market's been going on for, I think this is the 13th year. I think I have it here. Yep, 13th spring market. So this is 13 years running. So they've probably come for years and then they want to keep going to the market. So I get it. So on Friday, I think I only sold about $80 worth of things. And I believe it was mainly scrunchies and pouches and 1 bucket hat. So that's just the way it went. I told you about that. And then the Saturday, second day, it was better. I didn't sell as much as I wanted to. You know, I mean, can't sell everything. So out of the 181 pieces that I took, I sold 34 items. So it wasn't the best event, but I still had a lot of fun. And I'm still 100% satisfied with the event because I don't go away often. I'm very much a homebody. I get really anxious when I travel. So the first night that Steve came and helped me set up, like the Thursday night, he left to come back home. And I went back to my Airbnb and I cried just because I was anxious being away from home. I was anxious being away from Steve, the husband, and like not knowing if he would get home safe. I mean, like obviously he texted me when he got home and I seen him on the home camera thing. But you know, those 2 hours that he was driving home, I get really anxious about. But obviously he was fine. Everything was good. I'm anxious with people driving and traveling. I've been that way my whole life. I think in a past life, somebody close to me died in a car crash or something. So that's just me. So I don't go away often. And, you know, I considered this like a little mini vacation for myself. You know, Larry went to daycare and, you know, of course, Steve was here at home. Like he worked on the Friday and then Saturday he spent the day cleaning the house. So that was really nice to come home to. So that was wonderful. And all in all, I had fun. I had a great weekend. I really liked my booth neighbors. The Saturday worked a lot better with the one booth neighbor who was making all the salesy pitches because it was so cold, wet, and rainy. It only rained for like maybe like an hour as we were like getting set back up. Like we were allowed to leave our stuff there overnight. There was security and stuff, and like all the tents were zipped type thing. And then so like it was fine that it was raining a little bit. At least we didn't have to set up the tents again because that would have sucked. But then the rain stopped, I think like an hour later when the market started, so that was great. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So it was cold and windy on the Saturday. And as you know, my collection was called Whispers of Summer. So many people, and I got so annoyed with people, and like I said something to the last person who said it, and I think people heard me, and they were like, oh, I'm not gonna say it to her then. They'd walk past and be like, Whispers of Summer, oh, you should have shouted for summer. So I got so annoyed because I heard it like 50 times within the first hour. So eventually I was like, I've been working on this collection for months. You really think I wanted this weather today? And they were like, oh, yeah, I guess I never considered that before saying it. I'm like, yeah. So don't. I got so annoyed. And like, I know it's just people trying to be funny, but I've been working on this collection for months. And then like, it was literally, I think maybe like 12 degrees and everybody's wearing winter coats. And it was like May 31st. And like, thank you, Mother Nature, you jerk. And today, of course, today, Monday, June 2nd, it's already 20 degrees and it's like, what, 10 a.m. right now? So Mother Nature is such a bee. And I think that really did hinder my sales. People weren't thinking about summer that day because they were freezing. People were wearing mittens and winter coats, wasn't winter or like raining or anything, like it wasn't snowing or anything, but it was still freaking cold. And I wish I had my winter coat that day, but I didn't bring it with me. Like I had mittens in the car. I didn't end up getting them, but I had like a big 2 sweaters on, a t-shirt, and like long pants, socks, and shoes. So what can you do? I am okay with not selling everything because I can at least put on Facebook Marketplace now, and I think it will do pretty well there. Fingers crossed anyway. And then if not, I'll take it to the farmer's market with my plushies. So either way, we'll figure it out. But I do want to go over what's sold. Okay, so going over things that did sell. For my hats, I sold 6 of them, the bucket hats. I sold 1 in that variegated color I was calling Coastal. People kept calling it Fruit Loops, and I didn't see it until somebody said it, and I was like, you're right, okay. Then I sold 2 Hyacinth, the purple, 2 Sky Blue, and 1 Blue Steel. The Blue Steel was the first one to go on the Friday morning. It was the first thing I sold, so I remember that. And then scrunchies, I sold 10 of them. I sold 1 Fawn, Jam, Peach, Saffron. Saffron was the yellow one. Sky Blue, Steel, and Teal. And 3 Hyacinth, purple. Then I sold only 2 totes, and I'm surprised by that, but it was so hard to display them. And what I ended up doing, and you've probably seen the photo in the videos there, I put some towels in one of them and hung it from the tent. And then people would be like, oh, what's that? And I'd be like, oh, those are my tote bags, you know, and people were interested, but nobody ended up like purchasing besides a mother and daughter. A daughter bought one, and her mom's like, I love those totes. I'm going to get one too. So that was really nice. So they bought the multicolor Fawn and Lichen together, and then the Coastal / Fruit Loops one together. So that was nice of them. I appreciated that sale. And then I sold 6 pouches, the sunglass cases I was making, or sleeves as I called them. I sold Coastal, which is the variegated Fruit Loops one, Gray, Lichen, Peach, Saffron, and Steel. So that was nice. And then the cover-ups. People were really interested in them, but when they seen that the belt was sold separately, they'd walk away. So I was like, the belts don't take a lot of time to make. I was only selling them for like 15 or 10. So my booth neighbor on the Friday, the one selling dog treats, she was like, can I give you some advice? And I was like, yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, I always appreciate advice, or, you know, whatever. So she had said, I make so many more sales. What if you just mentioned the word free? And it doesn't have to be like, you know, you're giving away a free item. It could be like, you know, buy one, get one free, or, you know, 2 scrunchies come with a 3rd for free. And she's like, I know you don't have a sign, but as long as you say the word, people are more apt to buy. And it was like, true. Okay, I guess I'm like that too. Like when I'm shopping. So I started telling people the cover-ups were, the cost they were, and they included a free belt to cinch it at the waist. If they wanted it, they didn't have to take it. If they didn't want it, they could do whatever, you know. And so then they ended up selling better. So I sold 5 of them in total. I took 15, sold 5, so I'm happy with that. I sold both the cream color. I'm not surprised by that. I sold the gray, not surprised by that. I sold the Fawn and the Lichen, the striped one. There was a lady that came through with her friends, and their friends were like, oh my God, those are your colors. She's like, those are my colors. So she was so excited. She tried it on in front of the mirror. She felt so good. So she bought it. So that was great. I guess I did sell 4 for money, and then I did trade one of them, the peach and jam one, for the vibrating pillow. So all in all, 5 are gone. I have 10 left, and I'll put those on Facebook Marketplace as well. I'm considering putting them on Etsy. I hate Etsy so much. They take away so much money from your sales, and honestly, it's just not worth it in the end. And like, if I paid for the Etsy ads, which I was doing for a few months, I made a few sales. Then I think it's worth it, but the cost of the ads is just so much. So I'm gonna try Facebook Marketplace first, like I always do, and then the market, and then Etsy. So 3-step program here. So that's what sold. So in total, that was 34 items out of 181 that sold. Well, I guess if you include 4 belts, that would be the 38 items, but that's okay. So all in all, I'm happy with the way the weekend went. As I said, I was considering it a little mini vacation to myself. And you know, it felt nice to get out and, you know, experience a different town. I didn't do a whole lot of sightseeing, maybe a few things, which I shared with you here in this video, with the, you know, the lake and stuff like that, the wineries, like the fields and stuff. So yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of sightseeing. I just didn't have the time. I went to a Michael's, so that was a good sightseeing. You see the size of that store? Oh my God, it was crazy. Just the yarn section was huge. That was on the west end of St. Catharines, if anybody's interested, Ontario. So, something that was really cool, and I liked this idea, So when you got to the winery, they had like the booth set up and stuff on your parking pass. Of course, I already knew my booth space like we all did. But they said, please keep this on your dashboard because then like we know that you're a maker and you're the one parked closest in the artisan parking lot, because they had a spot for us to park, which was close. It was off to the side, but it was closer for us. And then they had customer parking like closer to the entrance. And like they laid it out really well. Like this is the 13th one, so they had it down to a T. And honestly, it was an amazing event. And I have never been communicated with so perfectly when it came to an event than this one. As I mentioned earlier, they did a 28-page document for us to look through on their website. We could access it at any time. It had absolutely everything on there. It had emergency protocols. Did you forget something? These are the closest stores, so like Canadian Tire, Michael's, other things, etc., Walmart. So that was amazing. And then they had like local hospital numbers, local emergency numbers. I didn't think they had poison control on there, maybe for like a weed or something if you stepped on something, I don't know. But they had everything on there and it was amazing. I wish, after experiencing this weekend, I wish I had gotten into their Christmas market this year. I will keep applying for future years. Someday I'll get in. But I'm going to a different event that was already accepted for that weekend. And I've done that event before and I love it, so it's fine. It's all over now, so that is kind of nice. I've been working towards this for so long. And now I can kind of focus on some other projects that I've had in the back of my mind forever and, you know, kind of get back on track. So I look forward to posting things on Facebook Marketplace and hopefully selling a few things. And then, you know, I'll gift a few things away. And I haven't really had time to think about it. I'm just trying to like shut my brain off, doing some those tiny teddies again. I was batch crocheting a bunch. So worked on a bunch of those last night. So just spent the day-ish, almost the whole day crocheting yesterday. Just it was nice to shut my brain off and just sit on my own couch, be in my own bed, be with my own husband, and you know, just take the day to relax. And then we picked up Larry last night from daycare. So he had a great weekend. He had a great vacation too. He's pretty tired, so hopefully he'll snooze for a few days and give me some peace. That's the dream. So I will see you next week. Next week will be the how much yarn I used in May video. I did a different format this time, so I'm excited for you guys to see it, and I'm excited to hear your feedback and stuff. So I hope you enjoy that when it comes out. And please remember that you are strong, you are beautiful, you are loved, and the world appreciates having you here.